What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to another session with Bubba. It's always good to be a part of your day, and I appreciate the attention you're paying, even though I know a couple of you are dozing off. It is Monday, and of course, we know Mondays are a very challenging day to get excited for after having a beautiful weekend. But I think I wanted to today take a look at what happened in last week's action, and basically what's happening in the overall markets as we see volatility start to spike. And I think the interesting thing to look at is we look at a chart of the Dow, okay, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. What are we seeing here? If we look here, we see a bunch of teeny little days with very little movement. Okay, and what I mean by very little movement, we had on this day here, the whole range from high to low was 70 points, 70 points. All of a sudden, last week, we started to have ranges in the approximately the 100 point range. Okay, and we're starting to see a little bit more market volatility. Now, if you follow and watch what I talk about, I know that Mr. Navickas is doing a great job at teaching. Okay, and this is a chart of the S&P. So what are we noticing here about this chart? Well, if you subscribe to the market theory that we talk about a lot, and that's the phases of the market, okay, this was a big old consolidation or congestion pattern in which we were staying within. And then last Thursday, we broke down below. And Friday, even though we rallied and it was a big, juicy rally, we rallied right back into a resistance area. And of course, this morning at this taping, which is about 5 o'clock this morning, we can see that the future that trades against the S&P, that it's based off of the SPX, is continuing now back going lower. So even though the rally came, we can now see some selling pressure. So maybe the market is starting to change a pattern. And in fact, when we look here, for you geometry majors, we see what we call a descending triangle. And this is a pattern that is typically very bearish to whatever you're looking at, just like the opposite would be an ascending triangle. But we see the same action in the S&P, virtually nothing going on, and then all of a sudden we're starting to see wider ranges, indicating more volatility, potentially more fear in the market. And what does drive the market, two things drive it: greed and fear. And I think up here, we saw a lot of greed in which investors and traders got over leveraged to the buy side. And then, of course, every market ends with a whimper, with a bunch of fear and a bunch of people selling. So that's the overall market conditions we're seeing right now. We're seeing a market that looks like it may be topping out here. Now, there are a lot of factors that could try to prop up the market, and certainly we're not going to see a market go straight lower. So we will see the markets move back and forth, but at the end, we do see a market showing some weakness. So I'm going to give you a couple of stocks to look at that I have built my own positions in, and I'm going to ask you to tell me what you want to do. I will draw them up the way that I see them. Okay, and this is Apple, AAPL, Alpha Alpha Papa Lima. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at these and tell Mr. Navickas what you think of these. I will send him what I'm looking to do in here, but you can kind of get an idea of what I'm thinking. So this is something I want you to look at Apple and break down the stock of Apple. I want you to look at Twitter, Tango Whiskey, Tango Romeo. Okay, and tell me what you're seeing here. Okay, and I want you to look at Gold, GLD, Golf Lima Delta, and I want to know what you're thinking about here. Okay, now use the information that you've been learning, but I would like to see you put together an overall plan and a pattern of what you're seeing here. Because one thing you want to remember about the markets, All patterns will repeat themselves. All stocks will do the same things over and over again. They may do them from different levels, but we always have the three basic phases of the market, which are congestion or consolidation. That would be considered the birth of the market, because that's where all new trends are born from. The second phase of the market is the breakout, and the breakout to the trend, which would be the life of the market. And then the last phase, of course, is what we call the blow off, okay, which is when a market, when traders and investors alike have no regard for price and time, and the market just goes goofy in one way or the other. And those are what we're looking for. So what I want you to do is I want you to look and see what you see here and decide of what pattern you're looking for. And of course, the best thing to do is always practice as much as you can to see what we're looking for. But if we look at just the basic lifestyle, okay, of the market. So here was, in this particular one, the consolidation pattern. Here was the breakout to the trend. And now, what does it look like we're doing down here? Okay, it looks to me like we might be consolidating a little bit. So it means either the trend is going to continue or this is going to actually act as a bottom. Anyways, I have 3 trades that I have done, a little bit more complex than you're going to do, but I'm going to send Mr. Navickas my read on these 3 charts and my 3 trades on these 3 charts. And I would like to see you do the same. And I can't wait to come in and meet each and every one of you, because I will come into the class and actually teach live as well. But for Monday, this is it. Just make sure you wake up. This is Todd Bubba Horowitz. We'll see you next time. Thanks for your attention. I appreciate it.